Absolutely. And so, one thing that I think about a lot is if you were to draw a spectrum, and on the left side you have the slow development cycles and kind of carefulness of Bitcoin, and on the right side you have optimization for innovation, right? And I think that Bitcoin obviously is pretty far on the left side of that spectrum, and a lot of the ICOs and altcoins, etc., are pretty far on the right side, right? They want to quickly build something, they want to get it out, they're trying and experimenting and innovating and doing all these things. And so what ends up happening is, because Bitcoin's speed of development is slower, more methodical, kind of more intentional, it can pull from the things that work on the innovative end, and it can avoid the landmines of the things that don't work, right? Do you agree with that?
I agree with that, and I would even add that sort of a lot of people who've started altcoins or sort of gotten into that wave in the last couple of years come from the technology world or the startup world, venture world, and sort of one of the schools of thought, i.e. move fast and break things, it completely does not work for cryptocurrencies, because once again, this is not like a dog walking app or a dating app or like a food picture app, right? And you need to be extremely, extremely careful with this. We want to make it so that a huge chunk of the world financial system eventually gets absorbed into this one digital currency. And so conservatism is definitely the way to go here. Some people would even argue that we need to even be more careful and review even in an even slower fashion. But I definitely agree with you that Bitcoin can definitely take whatever, if there's ever something that is actually useful and truly innovative that any altcoin does better in any capacity or function, Bitcoin can eventually adopt that for sure. However, and this is why I believe that sort of privacy coins or coins with more programmability, etc., they really don't stand a lot of, they don't really stand a chance against Bitcoin at this point in time, because I believe people will soon realize the truth, and the truth is that the value, and aka the price, is determined by the monetary premia. And the monetary premia is determined by a combination of the current monetary network effects, monetary liquidity, saleability, marketability, recognizability, the Lindy effect, and first and foremost, the credibility of the monetary policy and just the general trust. And in all of these in all of these criteria, Bitcoin is so far ahead than everything else that the way I see it, yes, there may be 2 or 3 more sort of mini altcoin bubbles, particularly as more people sort of enter into the space. There's a natural sort of incentive to sort of find the next big thing, of course. But I believe that once Bitcoin goes above several $1 trillion or so, a big divergence will happen. And really, all the other cryptocurrencies will be similar to what penny stocks are to the big caps in the equity world right now.
Got it. And so would it be fair to say that if you take that same spectrum, on the left side you've got security, and on the right side, you have low levels of security? Bitcoin conservatism pushes it on the extreme end of the left side around security, right? And do you think that these other blockchains, tokens, etc., are lacking focus on security, or do you think they're making a rational trade-off between security and, let's call it, innovation or something like that?
I think it's a rational trade-off, and the reason for that is because if you even want to compete in Bitcoin in any capacity, then it's really difficult to compete against it in terms of sort of the monetary disinflation, which really is the most important thing here.
Well, so what you're saying is, if somebody wants to compete against Bitcoin, right, another project, you can't beat it on security today, right, because of the network effect, and then you can't beat it on the monetary policy, and therefore you have to go to other areas in which you may be able to build a competitive advantage.
That is most of the thinking in sort of altcoin creators' heads.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that it has worked a little bit, not really. Mm-hmm. It might even work a little bit in the upcoming waves, but it is doomed to fail eventually.
It's like winning the second or third most important aspect, right? It's like saying, look, the most important thing around security.
It's like 6th or 7th, I would say, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's super interesting. Okay.